All right, welcome back to the channel. I'm here with little man Yugioh, aka Nick Trudden, and we are here because I just got top 16 at the EWCQ. I think it was number 6 over the weekend, this past weekend, using his exact deck list, card for card, from YCS Rally, from the New York tournaments that have been dominated by Amaryllis over the last couple of weeks. And also, the deck got second place. I don't know if it was your exact list, but the deck also got second place at the RBET a week ago. So there's a 3-week spread of just Amaryllis dominating Yu-Gi-Oh tournaments, and I wanted to bring you on to talk about it. You've been in my mind.
You've been on my mind.
I reached out to you. I was like, hey, I was actually just thinking about doing a video with you. I like this deck a lot. I've always tiered it very high. But before we get into that, how are you feeling today, Nick?
Feeling awesome, and I'm very happy that you're able to top with my list. So congratulations there. But very excited to be on the channel and talk about my favorite deck in the format by a large margin. So it's gonna be good.
Yeah,
I'm excited.
I'm really excited. So I have so much to do today. I want to first give a shout out to your channel. Make sure you guys go over to Little Man Yu-Gi-Oh's YouTube channel right here. Subscribe, click the notification bell, do all of that good stuff. He has amazing videos, including some deck profiles from the YCS. So if you didn't catch some of those, I think these are a great resource as well. There's this Dark Plant deck by YCS champion Tom Mack, who's from my area. There's the 2nd and 9th place deck right there. There's Machina Control, which according to some tier lists is the 2nd best deck in the format. So there's a lot here.
Yeah.
And one of the most important things that Nick did, and this is I literally give credit to you for the reason I was able to top this event, because this video right here, how to side deck with Amaryllis, was probably the single most important thing. So I love net decking. Net decking is one of my favorite things in Yu-Gi-Oh to do. I know some people are like really against it, but I think that when you don't know the reason why a person built the deck the way they built it, the best thing you can do is net deck it and don't go around changing everything because you think you know better.
Right.
So when I saw your deck list, I was like, okay, I'm just going to play the deck as is. At first, I was trying to make modifications. I tried to take the Morphing Jar out. I was going to put a 3rd Miracle Fertilizer in. Started drawing some test hands. I was bricking on Miracle Fertilizer a little too often. I was like, okay, I kind of see why the Morphing Jar is in the deck now. We do side it out a lot. But he explains everything. Like, you explain literally everything in these videos. There's a bunch of videos on Amaryllis on how to play it. So me and you have an interesting history too. We both got top 4 at Nationals last year. That was our first interaction. And I lost to the champion, and then you lost to a true hero. We had to play each other in the 3rd, 4th playoff. You beat me with Amaryllis, and back then the deck was way different than it is now. So
yes,
congrats to you on winning that Black Rose back then too. I know I give you congrats for that before, but I'll say it again. Really awesome to win a Black Rose with, you know, a plant deck is kind of insane, right? It's kind of fairy tale. But this deck, you guys have pushed the meta on this a lot since the original builds way back in the day. And I used to say that this deck is good in my tier list videos even before you got to this point. So how did it get to this point with Miracle Fertilizer and stuff? Like, what happened?
It's a very long journey. I've been playing this deck for over 2 years now, like pretty consistently. I think what Carpath initially topped with the list, and like you said, I net decked the thing immediately and started playing with it and grinding with it. And my initial attraction to it was there was just not a deck like this in any format, retro format of Yu-Gi-Oh! Like, it operates on such a unique axis between the relationship between the equipped spells of Hidden Armory, Amaryllis itself, like just playing 3 Tytannial. I was a quick draw player before this deck came along, and I saw that it was the most wild thing in the world. I was like, yo, we're drawing Tytannial every time then. I don't care. You know, at least we have traded now. But immediately, like, one of the things I figured out was the volcanic counters were just very weak, and I think they were just very good in the first event because no one knew what the card did. And I think that's, like, I attribute a lot of my success, at least in my nationals event and in my Raleigh event, to cards that people just did not understand overall. Like, everyone was picking up and reading Amaryllis's. Like, I had foreign copies that were all beat up at nationals last year. Literally, it got to the point where I just screenshotted my like a English Amaryllis, and when people were going to reach for the card, I just slammed my phone right on the table and just had them read. Same with Tytannial too. Like, they just forgot what Tytannial did, and that was like surprising to me as well. And she's just like such a house of a card. So the way in which I approached the deck going into nationals is, one, I cut out the count. Well, I side decked the counters and Fiend Comedians as well.
I remember that.
And I had a whole side deck plan for that. The deck was mainly built to beat the aggro decks in the room, and the counter comedian package was built to beat the combo deck. So it was like a small smoke screen package that you put right into the main deck for those decks that mill out their deck or hard combo or frogs that put 10 cards in the graveyard immediately. Like that's what it aimed to take advantage of. But the counters themselves were just not good enough to just be in the deck. They're bricks. They don't do anything in your hand. They are low card quality. So I had a higher plant count. I think I was playing like Lord Poison. I was also playing Botline was still in the main deck then. Call the Haunted was in the main deck. I went undefeated day one, which was pretty awesome. And then
That
I
is pretty
lost
good.
I lost in the last round because I drew 6 level 8 monsters in my opening
Oh,
hand.
well, wait
Because that
until you
happened.
see the way I got eliminated from my top cut over the
Yo,
weekend. Wait until I don't know if you already saw the pictures or like saw any
I
of it.
did. I did.
It's
I was
made its way around that fast.
Yeah, and no, listen, when you open those hands, it makes a man out of you. That's what I say,
It
But
does.
like, it's people will, and that's like the most common misconception. And like, I think this is just like bad, like bad player logic is when like people will play this deck and they'll open the god hands and they'll be like, oh my god, like I just went Lone Fire, Tytannial, Amaryllis on my first turn. Like this game is over, and I've
Yeah.
equipped spells in the hand. We're ready to rock. And then they draw the hands where they're like, man, I'm drawing all these like level 8 monsters and stuff like that. And it's like, and that's what discourages people from playing the deck. But I think like it's like with any deck that you play, like you learn how to play out of those bad
Yeah.
hands. Like there's games that I have where I open 3 or 4 level 8 monsters and I still win those games. Like but
Same.
like it takes practice with the deck. Yeah.
And
Like a lot of practice.
what I like about this deck a lot is that it's very defensive in a weird way. You actually do
Mhm.
have a good amount of traps, right? There's 7 traps in the deck. Scrap Iron Scarecrow, it stays on the field, so that blocks a lot. And that card is slept on crazy. Like it's actually really, really good. I found myself siding out
Yeah.
Mirror Force and keeping in Scrap Iron Scarecrow sometimes because against certain matchups, I'd rather have the non-destruction effect, knowing that they are going to put up like a Prime Material Dragon or a Stardust Dragon
Yeah.
really easy, like in those kind of decks. And Mirror Force isn't as good. And Scrap Scarecrow is just like really obnoxious. It creates some check 22 situations against players. So this card is randomly underexplored in Edison. I've seen it getting more popular lately, but I
Yeah.
really like the addition of this. I like decks that play traps. So I kind of want to talk about this a little bit. I was playing Dragon Turbo right before playing this. I've never played this Amaryllis deck before in my life until this tournament. I just decided to take your list the night before. And again, I tried to change it. I went into solo mode. I started drawing hands with it. And when I took the Morphing Jar out and tried to put it in, I was like, you know what? It's not
Right.
working. Changed it back. I said, I'm just going to play it. These guys have had success with it. I'm just going to try it like it is. What I was noticing is that in my games, I would be able to extend the game if I drew bad. Like you said, you could open up like 2 level 8s, 3 level 8s, and still play out of it because you get time with Mirror Force, Torrential, Wing Blast, and then also just like Raikou walling up, Dandelion, Card Trooper, Black Rose Dragon with your Debris Dragon, stuff like that. So you get opportunity to play out of situations even if your life points get low. You could easily come back with this deck, and this deck has a lot of unique win conditions that I like. So one of them being
Yeah.
if you ever deal, basically if Tytannial ever connects directly or Amaryllis connects directly, so Tytannial will connect and it'll be 2800, your opponent will be at 52. 5200 is an
Right.
important number in the format because it literally means if your opponent ever puts a Caius on the field, which is a very normal thing, it's probably the most popular monster next to Raikou in the entire format. If they ever put a Caius on the
Yes.
field, all you have to do from that point is go Miracle Fertilizer or Lone Fire into Tytannial, bring it back a Tytannial, and then mark on a row, steal their Caius attack per game. It's literally 5200.
Yeah.
So if your opponent
Yeah.
takes an Amaryllis, which is 3000 damage, because Amaryllis does 2200 directly, and then it does 800, so it's 3000 damage for this one monster. I always think if they let me attack with this thing directly, the game's over. Like every time this
Game's
thing
over,
attacked
yeah.
directly, I just win. And so this deck, once it gets you that 5000 range, is so easy to kill your opponent from 5000 because of how often you steal with the 4 brain controls. Like this deck literally main decks 4 copies of brain control. Just
Right.
really, really good deck. And as a Dragon Turbo player for the last month, one of the things that I noticed is that I would lose games to people because I couldn't defend myself. And I would, obviously that deck bricks
Yes.
too. But when you brick with
Right.
it, people are like, oh, he's on Dragon Turbo. I'm summoning the whole house and throwing it at him. Like I'm just doing
Yeah.
everything.
Yes.
And you can't really stop it. This deck, you can even wall up like
Right.
this guy, the botanical line. I had him at 3100 at one point. It was so absurd.
Oh, he's literally he's so strangely powerful. He's
Yeah.
such a strange good card. And just kind of like tying back to like one of your the idea of playing this, if you need to play slow first, you could play slow. Like the Wing Blasts are in that deck for the reason, for
Yeah.
that specific reason. I mean, outside of me being the biggest Wing Blast head ever, like I swear by Wing Blast over Geki Break, over
I
Karma
think
Cut.
for your deck
in
it
my
makes sense anyway. I think it makes a lot of sense for this deck.
Right. I'm sick though. Like in my GOAT format, like my Chaos Turbo list, it's maxed out on Wing Blast. My in Tengu format, I play the Sith Chaos. I'm maxed out on Wing Blast.
Yeah.
And I play Mythic Ruler in half format. I'm maxed out on Wing Blast.
Oh,
I
so
am
you
mixed.
really are the
I'm
Wing
Wing
Blast
Blast.
guy. Yeah.
I'm Wing Blast or die. Yeah, that's it. I think, but especially in this deck where like Amaryllis comes back at your end phase, it helps keep tempo even with your opponent, because what you end up doing is setting them quote unquote back a turn.
Yeah.
Right. Like if you're going second per se, and this is a play I do a lot. If I'm going second, right, and they go like T-set pass, which is a very common, hey, there's a Raikou there. The Wing Blast is just going to put the Raikou directly to the top of the deck, and they better have like a more aggressive play or like
Right.
a more proactive play, because if they don't, they're just redrawing, and I have essentially 2 turns for me to like get into my play. So
That's a good
it's very
point.
important in that. It's very important. It's very important for that too. And also this discard outlet is what unbricks say Tytannial, and that's where like the fertilizers also come in too, because like if you're able to get discard those cards out of the hand early and get fertilizer onto the ground, then it's like it's the gift that keeps on
I
giving.
like that
You
pun.
know?
Get
Like,
fertilizer into the ground. That was good. I caught that. This guy's a true botanist.
Absolutely. But like also too, like and I guess also with bot line, one of my other favorite plays in deck is activating charge, searching for a Raikou, and then setting bot line, and then they just summon a Vayu or a Sangan or whatever, and they
Yep.
attack right into the set bot line, and that's 1,000 damage. And then like if I flip it to attack and then I attack with it, that's even more damage on
Yep.
top. So you're dealing 2,000 right off the back with it, and then setting the Raikou right after that. And the way that game plays out usually is just like awesome. Bot line has its matchups where it's like really bad in, but like against like the hero beat, like Black Wings, Gladiator Beast, they just can't beat this card. It's
Yeah.
hilarious.
It's actually really good
hilarious. And
against.
it's a 4-star.
Yeah,
It's a 4-star
it is a
too.
4-star.
So you pull it off Lone Fire if you have Plague Engrave and you need to go for your Brio push, and that's important game 2 and 3, because if they're setting cards, you got to fear Fossil Dino, which is the only way to break certain boards.
Yep.
So sometimes you need to pull the 4 out of the deck so you can at least make the Brionic when you have Plague Spreader in the grave.
No, that's actually very valid. I think that this guy is worth his weight in gold. Like you said, against Hero Beat, he is a house, because not only does he either trade straight up with an alias, or he beats over it if you have even just 1 token or anything else with him. He also is resilient because you can set him, and then you know that that deck suffers from low attack. Like they can't deal with a monster that has 2,000 defense usually. It could take them a very long time, or they'll have to do something like Gemini Spark it, which you're totally okay with if they're using Gemini Spark on a Botanical Lion. You're like, that's fine. But why don't we jump over to the replays now, because I have a couple replays from my run where I made top cut. So this is the first one, and I think that this is just, I really want people to see. Hold on, let me change my audio. There we go. All right, so you can see everything, right?
Oh, it's a good hand.
Hand. This is really nice. But I go second, and he decides to just set. So I immediately I'm like, holy shit, my hand is really good if I went first. Going second is still a good hand, but obviously a lot of things can go wrong. Luckily, I did draw MST, which made me think like if he has oppression or something like that, you know, I'd be able to stop it. So we're just gonna go right into it.
You could summon Fire here. You can also summon Lila here too, but because that, I mean, Lila is what baits the Bottomless here. So I mean, like you could test for Bottomless initially, and then I might have set the Typhoon knowing that that's Raikou, so Raikou does not have to. If I were to do this, right? Like I would go Lila, test the back row, Bottomless would occur. I set the MST thinking that that's Raikou. Raikou gets flipped on the MST, and then after that I have expend my Lone Fires on Tytannial, and Tytannial is not getting traded with what the perceived set Raikou is. So that's like my logic there, but it's still not. I don't think it's a bad thing to bait Bottomless there, because like even if you banish Tytannial, 1 hidden armory and 1 DDR turns that card on immediately. So it's not like Bottomless is like the end of the world anyway.
Correct.
And you have Fertilizer, so you could risk the biscuit, you know.
Yeah, and I did this also. I'm feigning Gores here. Basically, like my opponent probably doesn't know what I'm on. This is round 2, I believe. So in some Amaryllis decks actually do play Gores, which is another thing. But so I do this, and
the list that topped the RBUT, he took my list and then added Gores and Bottomless to it to make it 43. So like,
well, there you go.
He added Gores into the list. Yeah.
So
But
now I realize that I'm
it's-
playing against some kind of Diva Hero beat, basically, right? Like this is very
Yeah.
clearly that deck. This play is just this gets so out of hand. This gets so out of hand so fast. Remember, he started with 4 back row. I'm about to play through
and
every.
Oh my god. Oh yes.
We're about to play through. We played through 4 back row, and it's only my second turn.
Right, and he has Honest in hand too, so it's we take that Fertilizer, Qualifier out, Tytannial. And that's like the other reason why I want to like make sure, in a way, Tytannial sort of trades with Raikou, because you want Fertilizer to bring back the Tytannial first, and then if you're able to bring up the Lone Fire in the following turn, but it doesn't matter. Like this was just destruction, you know, like.
Yeah, he got ruined. He absolutely got ruined. It's actually crazy that this deck plays through back row so well. Like I literally played through 4 back row with very low difficulty. Now again, I'm not the expert on how to play this deck 100% because I just picked it up and played with it, and surprisingly found out that it is not even really surprised to me, because again, 3 weeks in a row, there's a world where those 3 tournaments, New York, into Raleigh, into the RBET, there's a world where Amaryllis won all 3. It got to the finals of 3 straight tournaments. The New York one was a finals of, it was a mirror match, not a true mirror match. The builds were very different, but it was still Amaryllis, Tytannial, Turbo in a mirror match in the New York tournament. And then the YCS in Raleigh was Sizzle versus your friend, who got second with this exact deck. Basically, the only thing he had different, I think, was like a Cyber Dragon over like something else. Like he didn't play 2 Cyber Dragon.
That was me. I had 1 Cyber Dragon, 1 Bottomless.
Oh,
he had 2 Cyber Dragons in my deck. But also shout out to him. I mean, like I don't think I've gotten this far or gotten to this card list without like me sitting with him. And also shout out to my friend Sam too, who we have the Amaryllis Gods text message chat, and we just like grind ideas with each other. That's how we got to this list. But it's Banisher.
Yeah, I was very surprised, because at first I looked at my hand, I was like, oh, my hand's insane, right? And then he summoned Banisher, and I was like, well, now my hand is fragile as hell, because I literally need this to resolve to use any other card in my hand. Like if this doesn't resolve, I am getting cooked. So I was very nervous here. So we're just gonna obviously set everything and then pray. And then as soon as he attacked, I was like, I'm giving thumbs up to see if he wants to do something weird before the attack goes through. And then once he gives me the okay, like we're in damage step now, pop your guy, and that mill.
Oh my God. That opens up your whole hand.
Yep.
Oh my God. You have like you get back the Lone Fire, you get back, and you have Fighting Vortex. This is one of my favorite cards in the whole deck too.
Look at what's happening. This is getting so out of hand. This is getting so out of hand.
There are some moments where you're just allowed to turn off your brain, but like for those, and the deck just plays itself. Yeah, you get back, you follow through Lone Fire. Oh my God!
All of a sudden, I went from 0 monsters on the field to 5 monsters on the field, and like literally 0 to 5 is crazy in Edison. Like that's so nuts. So he goes Miracle Fusion, which I'm like, okay, that's pretty good for him. The problem is, I have 2 Amaryllis on the field, and I'm about to steal this. So if all of this goes through, he's in a really bad spot, and I'm going for it. Like this deck is so aggressive.
No reason not to. Yeah.
I was like, go ahead, Mirror Force me.
Well, that's the other thing too. You can Mirror Force your field of Amaryllis, and you're like, okay, like
here's
so
3,000,
right? Like, it's like you could play kind of ignorantly sometimes, and there you go. You're at 25. He has to out his own 0.
Yes.
So like,
otherwise, I'm taking it back. And I was like, okay, summon Alias, that's fine. I'll take this guy back, and then we're just going to activate Lightning Vortex and just go for game. Like I don't see why. So come to find out, I believe he had Heavy Storm in his hand, and he did not want to Heavy Storm his own Bottomless, so he allowed himself to die to Mark of the Rose because he didn't want to go minus.
Right.
So it put him in a situation where it's like, either you go minus and you play Heavy Storm on your own Bottomless to get rid of Mark of the Rose, or you let me take your 0 and possibly lose the game.
Yeah, you had to do that. I mean, like that. I think that's where some players are like, they underestimate, or they're not familiar with the Amaryllis matchup, because let's face it, the sample size for people who play this is very small.
Yeah.
So like they don't know that they have to out their own. They're like, oh, I'm just gonna get it back next turn. It's like, it's not gonna be in next turn.
Yeah, like bro,
like,
you're at 25 specifically. Yeah, so that was the round. That was the round against Hero Beat. Okay, so we have this replay where I'm up against Black Wings, and I wanted to show this one because some really interesting things happen that you talk about in your videos, and I can't wait to show it off. So this is game 1. Obviously, my hand is nice.
This is another good hand. Very strong hand too. Oh, this is an amazing hand. Yeah.
So I'm like, this is fine. You can obviously get in for 14. I'll gain the life. That's great. Summon value.
Upstarts and Black Wings think so counterintuitive, but that's a different conversation for a different day.
Yeah, definitely a different conversation. Okay, so they go just summon value, activate Icarus attack, and I was like, okay, this is great. I have a Dandelion and a Debris Dragon follow-up, so this is perfectly fine to me. So I was like, if they Icarus on my token in an MST, I'm fine with that as well. Like that would be a great trade for me. So I was like, I'm just gonna MST this now, so it doesn't get like my debris or whatever. So we go into this, and my opponent doesn't have a level 4 in the grave, so they can't, as of right now, I don't see a visible way for them to just go into Yugioh Guardian. So I felt safe doing this. They end up having Kalut, which is fine. Like I'm still walled up, and I have Amaryllis. So this play right here, where I brought back Amaryllis, after I did this and I passed, I immediately was like, oh, I don't think I should have did that, because I didn't want him to. If he had Shura right here, I would have lost a lot of card advantage, or he would have gained card advantage, I should say, and that would have been annoying. But
at the same token too, you have to like get your Dandelion back. You have to free up DDR.
Exactly.
Also, if he doesn't commit another monster, you have to tribute some of that Tytannial, because Tytannial is what's going to turn on the fertilizer for future turns. So you have to make your cards alive in your hand, and sometimes you have to make concessions to like Shura and stuff like that.
Yep, and I have a really strong crackback hand too.
Yeah,
because it's heavy into DDR, discard this, bring back Dandy, and then fertilizer. So my hand is really strong on a crackback, and I drew another Dandelion, which is actually pretty good.
Yeah. Oh, this is strong here.
Yeah.
DDR puts the monster in attack mode, by the way.
Oh, okay. See, I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
All right, so they're gonna. I don't think this game.
My body.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got it.
Yeah, because otherwise this can't pump over Tytannial, which is actually a really good interaction, and some people don't know that. But if you try to pump your like any monster with Siroko's effect while Tytannial's on the field, she can just negate it, and that.
Yeah, I did that. I did that 3 times at Nationals last year. It was crazy.
So here we're back to just spamming tokens and Tytannial and like telling them to deal with it. Beat over this guy so I don't bleed any more damage. And luckily for both players, the Dandelion going in defense mode didn't end up mattering the way the game ended up playing out. Obviously it could have, but luckily it didn't have an impact. So here...
Yeah, he has nothing. He has nothing.
Yeah, like what am I afraid of, right?
You draw to a second card and put place 2 in the back row, you have nothing. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I love how you're like me. I say I don't believe you. Like I just blatantly tell people like I just don't believe you. So this game, I opened up Torrential, which is great against Black Wings. Obviously, any summon stop you can get is great. And I also opened up Road, which is also good against Black Wings for obvious reasons. The problem is that up until just now, I don't really have a way to prevent Whirlwind from going off a second time. I draw the trade in, and I'm really happy about that. But now I don't have any way. So if he has more summons, and I was reading that he had Sirocco in his hand, like I literally thought to myself, I was like, man, I think this guy because he went first this game and he did not go Whirlwind Bora, which tells me that he clearly drew one part of this. I really think he drew the Bora, if I'm being honest. I think that he already has a Sirocco in his hand and he needed me to set a monster, put a monster in the field turn 1, but I just didn't have one to do so. So I just set 2 back row and it worked out. Now, unfortunately, I am going to get Sirocco, and I have to do this. Yeah.
You just have to eat this. Sometimes you just got to eat this shit.
Yeah, it's the price to play the game. It's like I have to take this 3,600 to play the game right now. And also, I just need to get this. I needed to get that off the field.
Brain control.
Yes. Yes.
Oh, okay. All right, Danny. Okay.
Mm.
We don't need the brain here yet.
No.
He just told us we don't have Kalut, but we had to play into it anyway or else we lost.
Yep.
All right, bring back Miracle Fertilizer. Very fair enough. Mirror Force. Okay.
Yep. So that Mirror Force, I didn't use my normal summon, so I just bring it right back. I'm just being annoying at this point. So this is.
Oh yes. Oh yes.
Yes. I love how excited you are. Yeah, so Falsadine, obviously when it's flipped, it has a Raigeki-like effect on special summon monsters, and since I control a bunch, I'm able to Starlight Road this, and then I didn't know I didn't know if I could summon Stardust or not. So we had to look up the ruling real quick. So that's like a thing. So I was like, do I get Stardust Dragon? He's like, I think so. And I was like, just checking. And I went on edisonformat.com and I checked. And you apparently, it says the first effect resolves sequentially. First, negate the effect and destroy that card. Then
destroys the card and then you summon them. Yeah.
Yep. So I found that out literally in the moment. Their hand is still really good. So they're able to like make a Goyo Guardian here, attack over my Stardust. They can't take it though, because it's summoned from Starlight Road. So I feel great.
Yeah, we could brain control this Goyo, take the Sirocco, and then tribute over, get the second Titanium. Oh, we can do this right now. Oh, do we lethal? No, we don't. Yeah, we do. No, we don't.
Yeah, no, it's not lethal. He's actually higher than, like, 69 is one, it's a crazy number, but it's also, he's really just high. So yeah, there's a Black Rose here that is actually, this was like the most clutch Gale ever. He really screwed me over with this because I was trying to hold brain control until he gets into a simplified game state after I deal enough damage where it becomes game. And in every situation prior, I was like, I don't really feel the need to brain control yet. Like, I feel like I can just still continue to like nick at him the way I was. But there's definitely merit to going brain control, take the Goyo, attack with everybody, and then like steal his guy, tribute over it.
Something like with Amaryllis, because like you have to get Amaryllis into the graveyard, because that's like your fertilizers are gone. That's like your next game plan, or else, and you cannot rely on drawing trade in because you're ready for one in graveyard.
Yep.
So like it's 1 in 12 chance is not like a good, but you pro set the Storm. I like that. He's on the Greffer. Okay.
Yeah, this is like a hybrid Blackwing deck that I'm noticing now. So this is really bad for me. I'm obviously at 100.
Oh, but we draw Necro Gardener.
Yeah.
Okay.
But look at this. This is actually great. So
let me see. Let me guess. You're going to heavy. You're going to brain control the Greffer.
I can't brain control. I'm at 100.
Shit.
But my opponent happens to have Deck Devi for me, so I ended up getting Deck Devi, which is great here. It's actually one of the best things that could have happened. I was like, oh, that's amazing, because now I can go. He's like, oh, it doesn't look good for me. I'm like, oh, because now I can just go hit an Armory, get Mark of the Rose, take your Greffer. And basically it comes down to, like, if he draws a monster, I'll obviously just lose because I can only block one attack, right?
Right.
So we're playing this game for now. And
right.
So I pass this back. Gives me 1,000. I was like, okay.
Yeah.
Obviously Gardener this, and then I ripped the Lone Fire, but I'm under Deck Devi, so it just dies, and then I ended up losing. So that game, I think, like you said, the better play would have been to prioritize getting the Amaryllis out of my hand using the brain control, because I ended up basically dying with the brain control in my hand. So I brain controlled the Goyo, attack the Sirocco, steal that, tribute over, summon Amaryllis, get that in rotation. That way, like, now I'm banishing Tytannial or Lone Fire or whatever, so that my DDRs are more deadly. Also, just having Amaryllis coming back is really important. So that was a valuable lesson.
Yeah, because you got to think of your hands of how can I make my cards alive in my hand? You know, I guess that's like a standard thing in just Yu-Gi-Oh in general. But
troll, this card is so trolly. Oh, that
but the best thing about it is, like, people are gonna start eventually, like, they'll MST or Dust Tornado that, and you're like, okay, great. Now I know my equip spells and my fertilizer are not gonna get MST or Dust Tornado. That's what that means.
It's funny you said that, because you said people like to MST and Dust Tornado it. So he says, can I ask to read the card real quick? And I was like, yeah, sure. Well, you can read it. So I show it to him, he reads it, and then he literally goes draw for turn and goes MST it immediately. Like, he drew this for turn, by the way, but he draws and he MSTs it. So it's literally what you just said. So I get attacked here. And this is what I wanted to show off, because you talk about this in your video. The reason we
my god, you do my favorite play.
Oh, it's the best play. It's so good.
You do my favorite play.
This is so good.
Yes.
This is so good. Oh, I know he wasn't ready. I just know there's no way he was ready for that. Because also he like had a set Bora. There's no way he was ready for the Gale. And I thought for a while, I was like, man, do I want to attack with this Gale? But I was like, fuck it, we're already here. Like, if he has the Deep Prison for my Gale, that's okay. Like, it's fine. So I was like, I'm going to attack, get the damage in, and it goes through. And then main phase 2, I go make Armor Master. Yep, they go bottomless.
And hit the bottomless. Oh, my god, he negs so hard.
Yeah, he's at 2 cards, I'm at 5. And I believe, he's at 2 cards, and I'm at 5. So this is a great, like, I'm doing great. I didn't normal summon this turn, so I'm able to do my Hidden Armory, main phase 2, bring back Tytannial. So I also wanted to make sure I brought back Tytannial because I have Mark of the Rose in my hand. and I have Plague in the Grave.
Yeah.
So I remember at the time I was thinking like I could bring back Armor Master. Armor Master is clearly good against not GBs, against Blackwings, but he hasn't played Heavy Storm yet, which would really suck if you know this just got Heavy Stormed, right? It would really suck. But also it doesn't synergize with me having Market Rose. If she goes to the graveyard, at least I can still do this and Plague and like make a card. So that was my logic there.
Agreed. He also put 2 down on the previous turn, so you don't do that if you have Heavy Storm, right?
I would hope so. I would hope so. So
unless he's the sickest man in the world.
Yeah, there are some sick people out there though. So there's a False Dyna, the most annoying card for this deck.
That we don't really care about.
Yep.
Yeah.
So here we go. Now we have Amaryllis coming back, and we have a Karma Cut.
Karma Cut's nice here, yeah.
So I think about this. Look at his graveyard. I'm like, oh, that's convenient. This is your 3rd dark on the field, and you have a boar in the grave. I'm going to Karma Cut this. And I was like, I'm actually just going to take this away from you. So that way now, like you have 1 dark. So just in case like Dark ever comes up, I'm in a pretty decent spot there. And I kind of just want this to live because I still have this win condition in my head of if this attacks directly, it's 3,000 damage. And then I still have Mark of the Rose plus Plague Spreader Zombie to like crack back. So I just want to deal a shit ton.
We draw a line, yeah. Well, I think another thought I had there too is that we could have held the cut because we did not have a good discard outlet, and like it's a very nitpicky move, like nitpicky decision that like I mean if we look at the graveyard, you still have a good amount of cards that you would rather discard, and MST I believe is a high value card against Blackwings because we put in multiple Dust Tornadoes against it. So like I might have held that and just took into 17, but like
the only thing is he doesn't have any more back row, and I can blatantly tell that from the way the game is going. Like my opponent he already set a bunch of back row in the beginning of the game, and then he set a False Dyna raw with like nothing. Like he set a False, he doesn't have any more traps, and I realized that my opponent doesn't have any back row. I'm not going to hold on to the MST. The Torrential's obviously the best card against Blackwings besides Bottomless Trap Hole. Market of Rose synergizes again with the Plague Spreader Zombie, but I was like, I'm not just going to hold the MST there because if this cracks in for 3,000, I now have a legitimate win condition with just Market of Rose if he takes 3,000 damage. And any top deck here, like I'm talking about Lone Fire off the top, Botanical Lion was amazing off the top, Debris Dragon, just bring back Plague Spreader and they both can get in. Like anything off the top puts them in this condition where it's like, bro, if you take all this damage, and I don't think Blackwings play Gores, I never treat them like they play Gores, but if you take all this damage, this card right here plus the Plague is just going to be like the ultimate crackback. So he drops so low that like now I feel like the game is unwinnable for him basically. It's just a matter of time.
You could have God against you, and then you still have Mark of the Rose to take whatever he has. So like,
and he's gonna draw a Sirocco, I'm pretty sure. And I was like, okay, that's fine.
Yeah, we don't care about that.
Yeah, I was like, this is absolutely fine. And then, so he knows I have the Mark of the Rose because I searched it earlier. So he summoned this, and I was like, yeah, I just win now. And he said, yeah, maybe I should have said it because like, I blatantly know you have Mark of the Rose. Like I know I'm going to die if I summon this monster. So I put him in a bad spot there. All right.
Right.
We have one more.
Awesome.
So
I love this. Dude, you're doing well with it. I mean, like,
it's not perfect, but it's fun. I know how to play fundamental Yu-Gi-Oh. I always talk about this, but like, I can pick up a deck and play it off of just my fundamentals, and I can do pretty decently with it. It's not going to be perfect, obviously, as somebody like yourself or whatever who plays the deck a lot, but if the deck is good, and like this deck is very, very good. Like this, I needed to redo my tier list because I want to place this differently. That like it's different than the Volcanic counter builds of old. It's different than the Nationals build. I feel very differently about Amaryllis in the format now. Just the way it's been performing, not only by results, but just the theory of the deck now I think is much stronger. And I'm learning with it. I learned so much over the weekend playing this deck. Like there's just a lot to take in.
Yeah, I mean, like, I would say just, like, in general, when it comes to, like, this, there's some things that some plays you need to make with this deck are considered awkward in, like, any other deck. So, like, that's where the learning curve does come with the deck. But, like, yeah, I think that just fundamental Yu-Gi-Oh! And just planning ahead is ultimately what's going to give you the most success with this deck. Because, like, I mean, I could look at a bajillion Amaryllis replays and be like, oh my goodness, like, why did you do that? And like, there's some things here where I'm like, okay, like, I would have done this a little bit differently because,
what would you have
but
done
like,
here?
again, like, no, like, I maybe like you you could be ballsy and just summon the Lila and try to mill a little bit more.
Oh.
But we already have things set up there.
Yeah.
The one risk you do run into is if they brain control your Lila. So
yeah, and I did not want
think,
that to happen.
Right. I mean, we also have Necro in here too, and I mean, we could be very aggressive with this Wing Blast if they open slow. But like,
Yep.
let's see what action.
This is a very aggressive opening too. If you look at this setup, I have a Raikou that they blatantly know about. So it makes it awkward for them to set their Raikou if they're on a Raikou deck, right? And then I have a Wing Blast to prevent anything attacking this if I want to be like super ignorant and make it where this gets in for 3,000. And I have Hidden Armory and Lila, so I can do like, depending on how the game goes, it can just get really bad really quick with this opening. This is a very aggressive opening. So they summon Stratos,
well,
and I was
that's the reason too, is that like you see the other Amaryllis in there. So I would have personally risked it and try to pop the Lila and get the second Amaryllis onto the field and try to like.
So here's how I play, because I have a very different mindset than you. I see. So when it comes to going first and having a Raikou in my hand, I very very strongly believe that I want to get the Raikou down before my opponent can do anything. Raikou turn 1, despite the fact that your opponent might know about it and they might try to summon something that's like Card Trooper or Vayu or whatever, this deck getting to mill and take their monster off the field, also me having Amaryllis on the field means that like if they attack the Raikou so that they can set traps safely, the Amaryllis just gets to live now and go in attack mode. And I do value like that damage, but more importantly for me as a player, one of the things I just always do is if I'm going first and I have a card like Lila and I have a card like Raikou, I typically will put the Raikou on the field first, just because I don't know what he's playing, and I hate getting to the situation where they can go second and go set a hamster or set their own Raikou, and then it's like, this is kind of awkward because I don't want to trade into their like potential face down hamster Raikou Caius engine. Like I don't want to trade into that like that. Whereas Raikou just, it makes it where if they have it, they have to summon an attack. They can't just like set Raikou blatantly. So it puts them in a
It's definitely a differences in school of thought here for sure. I mean, like but like I don't disagree with that logic, but like I'm always someone who like when you charge for Raikou, set Raikou, and they summon like Weenie Monster that trades unfavorably with it, it gives me a bad taste in my mouth, and I'd rather have that for in these moments where they have the 4 back row and it's like, okay, we could play kind of like our own game. We could play the game, our game, not their game, our game, and that's like important. Skill drain.
Yeah, this caught me off guard. It's game 1 and I get skill drain, so I was like,
this Wing Blast is gonna go so hard, so
yeah, I was like, all right, you know what? I'm gonna let this resolve. This is absolutely fine. Also, because I also targeted it, which is another thing. So if I targeted anything else, Wing Blasting this would have made more sense, because like if I targeted literally any of these other 3, I don't know what they are at the time, obviously, but like if I target any of the other 3 and he went chain skill drain, I'd have been like, okay, I'm gonna Wing Blast that. That way I pop the other one and you're drawing a skill drain, and like, but because I specifically targeted skill drain. Go ahead.
Right. To me, it represents 1,000 damage to them on a low value card against us. That's kind of
because
like
this is not good.
I used to side this card. Yeah.
Well, he's gonna find out.
Card. Like it. Yeah.
He's about to find out. Skill drain. And I also found out at the time, like as the game starts to progress, you'll see what happens. But I literally was like, I don't think skill drain is good against this deck. So I do really this. Bad. I do this.
Bad. Yeah. Man. This is pretty aggressive.
Oh yeah, I'm just going straight in, because now I realize that he's playing like a stun hero beat deck, and I know that there's a lot of targeting cards in his deck. Like there's no way that his deck isn't just like the most targeting ever.
Right, and I usually don't recommend putting Tytannial in defense like ever, because the Goyo can run it over and that sucks so hard. But like, and then they take it. But in this moment, it's okay because they have skill drain up, so it's like they can't.
And I'm playing around. Like, I was playing around Mirror Force, obviously, so that's another thing.
Right.
And this is also a stun deck that like it can't beat over her in defense mode anyway, especially while I have a Necro Gardener and a Wing Blast. I'm like, putting this in defense mode not only gives me protection against Mirror Force, but it also just makes it like it is impossible. He's just not beating this over. Like there's no way. And I Necro Gardener here,
right?
Because
correct.
Because I already know last turn my attacks went through, right? So like you took 3,000 last turn, and you didn't stop any part of it. So you're trying to beat over my Amaryllis, and I thought to myself, I was like, you know what? I think I'm just gonna kill this guy next turn. So we go Wing Blast 1 in the back row on the end phase, put everything in attack, and just like go in. They go Spark. I'm like, I'll use the 1 in defense mode, continue my attack. This is he's at exactly 5,000. which is convenient
Yeah.
because
And Emerald does not die under skill drain either, so it's
it was very
it's so
convenient that the Raikou, he took exactly 3,000 the turn prior, and I did exactly 5,000 the next turn. It just, I developed a game plan like this is what I want to do here that makes sense for me, and it just cooked him. He just got absolutely cooked.
Ryo is a bad side deck card. Okay,
It's definitely not good. Oh, this is about to get bad too. This is about to get so bad.
Oh boy. Okay.
Yep. It's about to get so bad. It's about to get so bad. Yep. They get rid of the token, normal summon, attack.
Yeah.
So here,
that's how we made honest.
Exactly. I didn't want to throw out the Tytannial with the Lone Fire here. I was like, you know what? We could just play this very slow and just attack over his Thunder King with the Botanical Lion. If he uses honest, that's great. He'll just kill my token next turn, or he'll summon a monster and I'll just torrential everything. So that was totally fine. Then he sets 5 back row again. I have to go through all these back row again, but this deck is very good at playing through back row.
Then we get attack heats, deep prison, normal summon Lila, main phase 2, and then just try to go after something.
You know what? You know the vibes.
Perfect.
Yep, they go torrential. This is great. This is great. I'm like, this is absolutely fine with me. I'm like, I'm not torrentialing an alias. It's not that deep.
You don't have to. You don't have to. We draw Cyber Dragon too.
Yeah. Just attack. All right, this is fine. We'll just keep playing this game. Put her out there. Let's see what he does. Now my Miracle Fertilizer is cracked.
Yeah. We want to. Interesting. Okay. All right. We bring it back.
Yep.
We protect it, and this is the gift that keeps on giving.
So things got so out of hand because Fertilizer just brought back 2 guys. So so what ended up happening for people, because I know I played it on fast forward. I had a Titanium on the field, and I went active Miracle Fertilizer, effect, target Dandelion, right?
Yeah.
And he went Chain MST, and I thought about it for a second. I was like, okay, I can either let that go and keep my Titanium on the field, or I can risk it because I know he doesn't have monsters. I know he doesn't have shit. He's actually in a really bad spot. He set 5 back row. He does, and he used call, like he's in a bad spot. So I'm literally playing to the situation of like, I don't think he has anything. So I was like, I'm going to bring back the Dandelion. And if the Dandelion would have walked, then I would have had that Titanium with Dandelion, which is just game against his deck. But he ends up MSTing it. And I decided to tribute Titanium because on the next turn, if he doesn't deal with the Dandelion, I just bring back Titanium anyway. And that's exactly what just happened. He couldn't deal with it. I put him on You Better Have It. And I have Mirror Force. So if he would have tried to summon something and attack, I'd have literally just Mirror Force the shit out of it. But yeah, so she comes back and it's just like, bro, this is really bad for you now. So Mirror Force. So he does have the Mirror Force.
Yeah. Yeah, Emerald, foolish for the Amaryllis. Bottomless, we don't care.
Yeah, bottomless, we definitely don't care.
It's like, sometimes when they bottomless your Amaryllis, it's half of it is just turning on your equipped spells. It's like you don't really. Sometimes you care. Most of the times sometimes you care, sometimes you don't. But in this situation, I think you're like, okay.
So I was happy about this attack because now I can 2 tribute for. So I thought about this for a while. I drew Decree, a great card, and I was like, I could tribute for one of these monsters. Which one would you tribute for here? These are cards you have in the background.
What's your graveyard?
This is my grave.
Let's.
Your opponent has 2 back row. You don't know what they are. You have Mirror Force and Torrential. You just drew Decree, and they are out of 1 bottomless. Mirror Force is gone. So Mirror Force, Torrential are gone, which is always huge. So that's their grave.
I don't really think it matters a whole ton here because we have our banish piles set up, we have our graveyard set up. I think the monster presence is going to be pretty important for us here. So I think the Tytannial is the way to go. I mean, Amaryllis does play better into Honest, but like I think we're at the point where like You Better Have It.
Yep.
We can also set the. We can't hang out here. We have to tribute summon here. So we would probably put down the Tytannial here.
Okay.
And my guess is Titan.
So I ended up doing Amaryllis because what I decided was my opponent is still very low on monsters. Like they're struggling. They're having a monster problem this game. So I decided I'm going to do this because if I get skill drained again for whatever reason and Amaryllis just keeps coming back, that is so problematic because Amaryllis doesn't die when it attacks under skill drain. So that was like the one thought. Right. The other thought was just,
well, that's the other thing too, is that like the difference is very marginal between the two.
It is. Yeah, I feel like I'm in a strong spot no matter what. So we just summon this one, attack, take some damage, set Decree. And on the end phase, I'm just like, all right, bring this back. And I have 2 more plants to like keep doing this. So they draw a Barbaros, no surprise there. Like they blatantly just drew that. I thought about it for a second. I was like, you know what? I'm going to Mirror Force this because I want this to attack.
Yeah.
7 tools, didn't see that coming. So I was like,
it does have to drop for us anyway, so who cares? It burns him for 1,000.
Yep. And so he took 1,800 on his turn.
That's sad.
You love to see it.
And then we drew Mark.
Yep. So here on the end phase, I go bring back Amaryllis, activate Torrential.
And one thing I wanted to point out for, I guess, like the viewers here is like this like sometimes your Torrential could just like end the game sometimes.
Yeah.
You know, like you bring back your Amaryllises when they're low enough and you set it up as almost like a burn spell to like end the game right there. So sometimes you need to save your Torrential for that. Yeah.
Not only that, I also have Decree, and I figured I need to get value out of Torrential because I'm going to flip this eventually, right? And I was like, I want to use, my whole thought was I want to use Mirror Force and Torrential. These are 2 of the most powerful traps in the entire game of Yu-Gi-Oh! So I was like, I want to make sure I use them both before this gets flipped and they become dead cards. So that was like the logic there. And it ends up playing out so well because now he top decked the best possible card, but this is still fine. I have Mark of the Rose. This was obviously an insane top deck, but we still have the Decree to make sure that like really nothing can go wrong. So they're down to 3,200. Draw debris right after. Yep. So we do have the material to make an Iron Chain Dragon.
Yeah, we can go into Iron Chain. I mean, like, not that it's like the mill from Iron Chain is going to do nothing against the. Oh, well, we have game 2, so why not?
Flip the Decree preemptively so that we don't have to worry about chaining it and getting like solemns or something. So we just activated blatantly before he could do anything. So I don't want to get into a situation where I'm like attack. He's like Deepers and I'm like Decree's like solemn and I'm like, oh god, that's annoying. So I just flipped it immediately.
Yeah.
Before I started my turn. I said, okay, I know you don't have DD Crow, make Iron Chain, steal your monster attack for game. Very simple. And this is building a win condition. So literally all the little damage he took over time just like ended up putting him low enough to where this would win. And it's just stuff like that with this deck where you can just win like in the most random ways. I mean, in some of these replays already, you've seen Mark of the Rose absolutely just do the most. So
yeah, I mean, that just shows the power of this card. It's so powerful that we don't even need the main brain control. You know, I used the main brain control, but like the thing with it is that like it's like an old school like thought. Like even in the early days of like say Magic, those burn decks used to play those like monster stealing kind of like use our monsters against them and just like attack. Like why not? You know, it's so crazy. You know, like and the fact that like Hidden Armory packages works so well with the remaining cards. Like I didn't see like an insane mill of Hidden Armory. Sometimes you get those insane mills off the top, or
absolutely
there's this setup that you sometimes make with Plague Spreader Zombie. The deck flows together so beautifully. And the cool thing with this deck is that like it's one of the few top tier decks that you could build this deck in many different ways and still do well with it. So like the only other deck that I could think of is Frogs, where there's like Burn Frogs and there's Frog Monarch and there's Hero Frogs and there's that
Spirit
utility
Frog deck that's in top cut right now as well. There's a
the Yamada Dragon nonsense. Yeah, the Yamada Dragon nonsense frog deck. You know, like this is same with this, where like I have a series on my channel called Perfecting Amaryllis, where like sometimes I play like the jank versions of Amaryllis with like Mystic Tomatoes, like a darker version of it. There's an Evil Thorns version of it. There's like a Super Solar Nutrients version. There's a hero version of it. Like you could play this deck in many different ways. Obviously, I do think there's only like 2, 3, or 4 variants that I actually think are viable.
Yeah,
but
that's how I feel about Frogs.
This is one of those decks. Exactly. It's very similar to Frauds, where it feels like that this is like one of the most Edison decks. When I say that, I mean like Edison being like you could create and deck build as you is. Like that's the selling point of it. But like obviously you don't see that with like Vayu or Black Wings or Hero B because they play the same 35 cards anyway. So but it's so crazy to think that like this list has just been overperforming for people and like people just picking it up and
I literally picked it up. I watched your side deck video again on the channel. Make sure you guys subscribe. But I literally just watched this video, put this deck in the dueling book, and went and topped the tournament with it immediately. Like it just pick up and play. Now I will say in real life, people don't really play this deck that much because it's expensive randomly. This card is over $40 now, and I remember in 2022, I bought them because I bought every Edison card ×3 in 2022. I just wanted to have everything so I'd never have to worry about it. And thank God I did that. because I ended up having a bunch of like Trident Dragons and shit. But anyway, I bought 3 of this. This was the most expensive card that I bought that wasn't like, because I like iced out my extra deck is the only thing I did like splurge on. I made my extra deck all ulti and dual terminal and stuff like that. But in terms of regular cards that I bought for Edison in 2022, this was the only card. This was $40 back then, and it's still $40 now. So I didn't lose money on buying it. But it's crazy. This card's never been reprinted. It's hard to get. Like nobody really has it. And so in person, when you go to a tournament, you rarely see somebody.
It's banned in the modern game.
It's banned in modern because of like FTK, I think, or something like that. Just like some
There's a plan FTK of it. Yeah, there is. It's kind of cheesy, but like, yeah, these light play first, I last checked, were like $50. Like they're even going higher than where they were before. And before nationals, you could get this card for probably like $10, $15, and then I made this card $40. I've never done that before. I never made a card $40 before, but that was like a super powerful feeling for me. But like, yeah, like. I say this to everybody. They're like, is it worth picking these up? And I'm like, listen, if you really want to play the deck, you have to get these. It's not like Substitute where like you could wait for a reprint to happen, and a reprint of it is coming. But like this one is just, it's not going to get unbanned in the modern game unless they ban like 5 other cards to support it, because it's crazy.
It definitely needs a reprint. And it's been $40 for literally since I started playing Edison, and I at first didn't understand it, but then I found that it's in one of those packs that's like Starstrike Blast or something, I think is the one.
Raging Battle,
that's the one. And it only comes first edition, right? Like that's the thing.
No, it's Starstrike Blast was only first edition.
Okay, I was still confusing with Starstrike.
Run through, it had like the special editions and stuff like that, and those are tough to come by because the you could pull Vice Dragon in those special editions, so like all those packs are like gone. You can't even like open them anymore.
Yeah.
And like, yeah, I mean, like, unless they reprint Raging Battle the way that they're reprinting Light of Destruction, I just do not see this card just getting a reprint. And I mean, there's a lot of cards in Raging Battle that need a reprint, like Sphere of Chaos and Chaos Endmaster, and it's just loaded with a whole bunch of cards.
That whole pack is so expensive.
Yeah, the pack is broken. You know, like you shouldn't crack a box and just try to pull shit out of it because you're gonna neg, obviously. But like it's one of those cards where like it has the highest barrier to entry financially. I got mine for $5 each, like
oh my god,
from a friend, because they were beat up and foreign. So
you did say that earlier.
I traded a Mystic Piper for them or something like that. So shout out to my friend Matt who got these for me. And all my copies are beat up. I will not get rid of them because now they have like sentimental value to me. So it's like
no, I love it. I'm so glad that I secured these before they became, because it's getting more and more popular thanks to you and your friends who've been doing well with the deck, and now people topping it. RBET is getting second place. Like it's putting Amaryllis on the map for sure, bigger than it already was. And I think that this is a real threat because this deck has a good matchup against Value Turbo. And that's obviously a key thing in the format in general, is like, it can go either way. Of course, they can just like have the oppression and everything and just win. But if they don't have those cards, once Tytannial and the tokens and stuff start to float around, that deck it's just really hard to deal with Tytannial with Value Turbo specifically. That deck has a hard time with this monster because unlike the Dragon deck, they don't have a monster that just crashes or trades or beats over her. Their Armwing, you put pressure by just attacking with Tytannial and Armwing. You put pressure on the Armor Master. You put pressure on even Silverwind because that's like the last one they can go into. And at best, it's like, okay, we crash finally. But on the way up to the Silverwind, it's kind of bad when Tytannial's just like attack, pressure.
Well, that's exactly right. Where like they have to put too many cards together to out one of them, right? Like a ton of cards together, and then like. With the fertilizers, it's almost like when you play against Blackwing and you try your best to out their board and they just like normal summon Blizzard, so willy-willy, and it's like it feels like that. Like the deck didn't really have like a Blizzard or like an insane top deck, but now it like does. And that's what really connects the deck together. And I say this a lot, like half the deck is just throwing Tytannial at them as many times as you can and just seeing if it sticks. And usually after a couple of tries, it does stick. But the fertilizers give you a couple more reps to do so. And if they don't out the fertilizers, like you just keep getting back creature after creature and just like builds so much momentum. And it gets to the point where like it becomes very over very quickly, you know, like, and obviously that's just. and that's just the new way that gets the deck is played. But yeah, it's
The
cool.
deck is great. All right, so how about we play someone on ladder? Something I don't usually do, but we're gonna do it for content because
Oh, let's play it. Yeah.
I want to play with the master.
I mean, you might play the mirror because all I've been doing is playing against the mirror for like
What are we
the
feeling?
last several days. Let's go rock. Let's go
All right.
rock.
All right, I'm gonna stick with it. I'm just gonna go rock. All right, I'm gonna go rock.
All right, now we go scissors. Now we go scissors. Oh, okay.
You just gotta stick with it.
Just gotta stick with.
All right.
It's like when you have when like sometimes I'm stubborn like that and they're stubborn like that, and it's just like rock for 5 times in a row and no one wants to break.
So what's our opening? This is a really unique hand. I'm almost inclined to just set Scrap Scarecrow and pass. But do you want to start milling with Card Trooper because we have the fertilizer? Is that like the way you want to go?
Yeah, I would go Card Trooper, set Scrap Iron, pass. This thing is gonna pay dividends for us.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh.
Well. All right.
All right, and we said the Scrap Iron pass.
Yeah, that was all right. This deck, man, I love this. It's so fun. It's such a fun deck to play.
Yeah, it's an infuriating deck to play against. Okay,
All
it did its
right.
job.
Am I getting shored? Yeah, it definitely did. No, they're reading it. Oh no, they can't be reading it. They're not looking at my graveyard. But what's going on? I guess they could still be reading. They could just hover over it. Yeah, they were reading the shit out of that. They were like, "What is that?" They were literally hovering over it. Like, I don't know what that is. Okay. All right, 13.
Okay. We go even on card advantage. We see 2 cards deeper into our deck over the next few turns. Okay. So we could set Raikou, set Mirror, pass. I mean, I think we just sit and chill here.
Yeah, I agree. Eventually, we will draw a level 8. That is the reality of the situation.
And that's the reason why you don't want to fire Fertilizer right now, because if you get the Tytannial, you lose a level 8 monster out of the deck that you can draw, which is like, some of the mental math you want to do sometimes.
Are we mirror forcing this?
I think we mirror force this because like we want our Lone Fire to go crazy,
Yeah, okay. He summoned that. It almost makes me think of Starlight Road, but I'm going to do this anyway.
Yeah, I don't care about Starlight Road.
Okay, that's great.
Oh.
This is a win condition for us.
Yes. Okay. Takes care of the tokens.
Oh, baby.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, let's smack that back row. Boom.
Slash mill 3. Morphing Jar. Okay, so now we can bring back our Dandelion or our Card Trooper. In this case, I almost want to say Card Trooper is better because we can mill 3 more, and we're still trying to find a real... Oh, we have Fertilizer too, though.
We do have Fertilizer. I mean, like, I think Fertilizer is probably going to be the best way to go because, like I said, they need to commit a ton of cards to beating your Tytannial.
Yeah, this is a situation of all time.
Yeah. This is definitely one of the games where you don't have to think, which is very nice.
Yeah. This is a situation of all time. We're just slowly tearing away all their cards. This is gone. Okay.
Let's go whack. And he's at 29, and we're like basically almost there.
Yeah.
You can trade in. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, I just want to give him some caution there. Just like, I want you to believe that there's something there. I don't need both of them. I hope I don't need both of them.
Yeah, you don't need
like, I hope I don't need both. Oh, man.
It's very rare with those games where you trade in, you just draw another level 8 monster, and you set the trade in earlier as a bluff, and you're like, God damn it.
Yeah. I've definitely had situations where I'm holding a level 8 in my hand, or like holding a trade in, hoping that, okay, this is, okay, we're gonna,
Wait,
so,
he just tried to half with Gale? Oh, never mind. Okay. Yes.
All right, they're going Black Rose. They realize that they messed up.
And we don't care about this.
Yeah, we literally don't care.
I think it's 3 darks.
Whoops. Didn't mean to do that. Yeah, he does have 3 darks. All right. Oh.
We could play it safe. We could set this Dandelion and just set up for Lone Fire later.
Okay.
Oh wait, he's at 100. Okay.
Yeah, that's why I was like, so we don't have a blatant kill shot, but we could put him at 100.
I mean, like, it's not like if he were have like oppression or something, he would have put it down already.
Yeah.
So it's. I mean, we also have Black Rose for backup. We can just Black Rose anything for backup. So like, I feel comfortable just like we don't need to deal the damage right now.
Yeah.
But like, if he has set Raikou, then like.
Yeah, we're probably getting Dark Arm next turn, which is the read that I have as well as you. I feel so. We could just set the Dandelion to bait the Dark Arm out and to get that out of his hand, or we could drop him to 100
if he has
life
to
points.
He can't kill you, so it's like I think I'm fine with setting the Dandelion, and we could even set up for like a nice little debris play too. Like debris could also like kill through also because we can make like RDA or some shit like that.
So they're playing 2 copies of Greffer. So this is fully hybrid.
Okay, and now we can just destroy him. So we could flip over, we could activate the fertilizer, get back a Lone Fire, and then Lone Fire tribute to Dandelion to get the Tytannial.
Yeah.
And then Tytannial run over the set, if that's Hamster, we could use the Lone Fire to kill the Raikou afterwards.
Okay. So you're putting us in attack.
Let's put that in defense. Put in defense. Oh, yeah, let's put in attack.
Okay, because you said run over the Raikou, so I just want to make sure. So this has to tribute.
Flip over.
Yeah.
I'll face up. Yeah, so we got to flip that and then.
Yeah. Crazy. Haven't seen any Emeralds this game, but that's okay. The deck can just still win without it, which is what makes it such a good deck.
And we also picked up Wing Blast too, which is such an awesome.
Yeah, that was a great draw. Okay. So here.
Yep. Like, I just want to clear all the bodies, and I want to be sure that, like, I am definitely clearing Hamster, if that's Hamster.
Yeah.
All right.
They're just milling.
Okay. Yeah. All right, so we don't have to fear Dark Arm anymore. Also, we play around Gores here by attacking with the Lone Fire first. So the one way he's able to out the Tytannial setup is by, like, crashing the Gores token into it, and that's not something that we want, at least at this point.
Sure.
Lore's fine.
Yeah, like what am I, bro? No one's ever stopped an Lore in their life.
It's not like we're playing Magic Drain. We're not that saucy, you know.
Yeah.
Rhoda, that's okay.
Fertilizer with Lone Fire on the field, like bringing back Lone Fire, having Dandy on the field is just like what's happening.
Yeah. And he has to like deal with it. He has to do something. Like, I mean, he's doing something proactive now, but it's not like even if he does do something proactive, it's just like it's just game. Like we're able to set up debris next turn. We could, if he put a monster set, we could just debris back. Like, well, we won't have the space, but like we could just make Black Rose banish a monster.
Yeah, put his monster in attack 0. He's at 24, which is exactly where we want him to be.
Necrogarno, we do not give a fuck about. Okay.
Attacks a token.
What? Okay.
I don't think he understands.
Fine.
I don't think he understands the situation.
It doesn't understand the power. It's okay. Let's see.
This is crazy.
Yeah, let's use fertilizer back a Tytannial. And
what
then
if
we could put the Lone Fire?
Yeah, I was thinking. So we have Lone Fire on the field, so we can use Lone Fire effect. No matter what, Torrential just wipes everything down regardless. So.
Yeah, I mean, like, so there's a couple of things we could do here. We could summon the Lila and try to go after Mirror Force. That's something that we could also do.
Right. I kind of like the idea of just using fertilizer here, though. I like it.
It's because it's like you're not expending any cards. You know?
Yes.
Like,
no,
so
I like this a lot.
Yeah, just.
Okay, there it is. We kind of knew that was part of the equation for him.
Right.
Okay, so we're here. They don't really have.
We're still fine.
Yeah, we're still fine. They don't have much set up, so we're just gonna pass again.
There's also an argument to just like we can Wing Blast the set card, so he's just redrawing a trap, not drawing anything real. So like, but again, this card trooper is not gonna net us a whole ton.
Yeah, this is fine. Sure. Are you dead yet?
Let's draw. We have no reason to.
They're not dead yet. All right, we're definitely
Card
gonna.
to library.
Yeah, I want to get
We have to hit
Amaryllis in
Amaryllis
grave.
here.
All right, there we go.
There she is.
Yep, it's done. Okay.
All right, so part of me's feeling a little ballsy. So like the summon Delilah, attempt to attack into Card Trooper, we bait out the Necrogarna, we lose Delilah or it gets deprisoned or Mirror Force, who cares? And if not, then we're able to take care of the back row there. And then we have Wing Blast for whatever he has. So I still think we're okay. We're just gonna attack with the sucker. You got bait Necro.
No.
Man, this mill's been sucking too.
No effect, buddy. Yeah, I mean, what was the point? What was the reason? All right. So they still have the Card Trooper. We still have Amaryllis.
Let's revive Amaryllis at the sun phase.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
we need her. We need to go off 3 times and then we win the game anyway. So,
I'm a little annoyed. Just gonna be honest. I just want this to be over. This game is like the longest forlorn. Like it's a forlorn conclusion. This shit is over. It's just taking forever. Yep. He's also milling absolutely awful. Like he finally got something worthwhile after God knows how long. But
that plague is also low value too.
yeah. Like I'm just waiting for him to give us the opening to go for it all. It's one of those games where you just know you're going to win. It's just taking a while. Sure.
Yeah, I mean, you're looking at your phone and you're just like, just die already. You know, I feel
That's
you.
literally that. All right, he's finally dead. Like finally. Holy hell, that was a lot. Yeah. So he has Gardna.
We do the same thing. We just summon the Lila and attack, and then we hope to mill Amaryllis, and then that puts 2 Amaryllises onto field, and then that game is over.
One sec. Let me see. He made us mind control too. Yeah. Okay.
That's important to keep in mind. Yeah.
Yeah, I like this. Yeah, he main decks mind control. Okay.
All right. We have a high chance of hitting this Amaryllis here. It's 14.
There's no heavy storm, so I'm not gonna give him an opportunity to like crawl back into the game. All right. Anyway, I'm gonna banish, summon,
For Amaryllis,
and then see if we can get another
Let's
one.
hit the last one. The most annoying thing is that we're not there she is.
Yeah.
And then we banish the
Dandy.
Tytannial.
Oh, I think we have a Tytannial banished already. I'm gonna banish a Dandy. Just
okay.
Just diversifying.
As long as we still have another Dandy and
Yeah, we do. Diversifying the banish pile and the graveyard. So now we have all these options in the banish pile, and all these options they're equal. So no matter what we draw between like fertilizer or if it's DDR, or even if we have another fertilizer, we're good. All right, so this is game on board. I don't really know what they're supposed to do to this. Yep, you just keep milling your life away, guy, and there's Heavy Storm.
No Sirocco's. I'm betting this guy's on 2 Sirocco's.
Yeah, he's definitely, he gives me 2 Sirocco vibes. Now what will you do?
Okay.
You're good with this? I mean, it's fine.
Yeah, we're blink blasting the set of whatever he's doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So here, why don't we
handy dandy side deck guy?
Yeah. So let's just go right to value, which should be right here. All right. So we're putting in Double Decree. We're putting in Vortex, a Crow, and Dust Tornado, and taking out a Wing Blast. Okay. All right. Here we go. So Double Decree, a Crow, Double Decree, a Crow, and a Vortex.
Vortex and D2, yeah.
Yep. Vortex, Dust Tornado. And then we're taking out Dust Shoot.
Flame Blast.
Yeah. Blast, Dust Shoot, Scrap Iron. I think I saw a Morphing Jar.
And then Debris Drop.
And Debris, yep. A card that can get oppression. It makes sense. Alright. Simple and easy.
Yeah, no thinking. Yeah, just
Yep.
memorization.
Yeah. I love the videos. Like I just love people having videos for like side deck guides, combo guides. Like Hydro Pump has a great video for a Dragon Turbo OTKs, and it's just like 30 minutes of him just
Yeah.
like, if you have these cards, this is what you can do. If you have these cards, it's just the perfect thing.
Right, because what prompted me to make that video was when I topped initially and I had the volcanic counters in the side deck. That's the biggest question I would get.
Same.
Like, how do you side deck?
Same.
How do
The number one question on the IMNerdpodcast channel, like the number one question is, can you give me a side deck guide for Hero Frogs? That is the number one question I have. Okay.
And my answer is like, I'm like, I don't know, play around with it. Like,
Yeah, like I want people to figure it out. Like figure out how you want to side deck with the deck. Now you already have the deck list. And you have all 70 cards.
Okay, this could get disgusting. Let's throw this trading out. Man, Dushy would have sucked so hard.
That's why I was nervous. I held my breath. Like I definitely held my breath. All right. Okay.
It's not bad.
It's not the worst. Okay.
We can make the magic.
Summon Card Trooper, mill 3, attack.
Yeah.
Very simply.
We have a super nice defensive play between Wing Blast and Dandy, so we can't get gamed by their nonsense. So that's good.
All right, plants. Nice.
Yeah. Popping
Okay.
fertilizer would be super nice.
Yeah, fertilizer is great here. Yeah, that would be really good. All right, anyway. Yep. Ah, that sucks. That actually does suck.
That sucks, yeah.
Because we have double Dandelion in hand. All right, hopefully we don't get Caiused.
Yeah, Guy and Kaius would be rough. I mean, 10% chance drawing Amaryllis. Closer to 12 if with the 2 draws.
Yeah.
He can't have the. I mean, he might have the sauce. Yeah. I mean, he's putting Sirocco in graveyard, dumping another value. He might go for Dark End to prevent the draw, which is not horrible for like in terms of a play. Because sometimes one draw with this deck could just turn on your entire hand.
Yeah, if I draw level 8 right now, it could just
yeah.
snowball for him in the opposite way. I was hoping his back row was bottomless trap hole. It was MST, but I was hoping it was bottomless. Because Card Trooper perfectly gets right under that. Oh, he has the Caius. Damn, his hand was nice.
It does turn on DDR though, so we gotta call our spade a spade. And
Yeah.
Value Turbo's doing the value thing. Yeah.
Yep, I'm just getting
That's
absolutely
a lot of damage.
railed. And this is why this is the best deck in the format.
Yeah.
Because look at that. All right, we need some help here. Our deck. Can you help us out one time?
Ooh.
Okay.
Let's see. Okay. We're gonna do something. We might be able to do something super saucy here. So we could hit an armory, get DDR. DDR could get back the Card Trooper. We could discard the Plague Spreader to do so, and then we could top deck the Dandelion for Plague, and then activate Card Trooper, milling out the Dandelion, and that gives us a couple of levels to work with.
I like it. I like it a lot. Where's our... There it is. I like it a lot. All right, we're pitching Plague, right?
Our level. Yep.
Then we're going to stack Dandy. All right.
Yeah, 4 set Plague Spreader.
Yep. Okay. Mill 3.
Okay. Now, we got to where we want. We have a couple of levels to work with here. We fear Dark Armed, because I'll put in the 3 Dark Sweep Black Rose. We might have to Black Rose anyway. Let's see. 6 gets us Brio. Brio
Yeah.
can beat Armor Master, run over Greffer. It puts a bunch of tokens on our board. Kai's will out said Brio, but we play around Dark Armed. Black Roach just outright outs everything. And we bring back Amaryllis at the end phase, but we lose the Dark Armed. This is a big thing here.
Yeah, I agree. We have Amaryllis on the end phase for some level of defense too, so I think the reality is that, like, I don't know if we're beating Dark Arm Dragon this game, if that's what they have.
Yeah, and also, like, you know, I think I like the Brio play a little bit better because, like, we can't risk him having, like, Armageddon Knight and then sending, like, the last value in deck, and then he has Armor Master in graveyard for that. So we play around a couple of things there. So
Okay.
I think I like that a bit better.
So you want to go into Brio here.
Yeah, let's make Brio.
Brio, attack, put this back in his hand, and then we're just leaving the Caius, or what are we doing with the Caius?
I think we have to leave the Caius, and we just gotta. We're gonna have so many tokens on field that, like, if we top deck, say, like, let's see our graveyard.
Yeah.
Whatever. Okay. I mean, we have a small chance of topping it, but
Yeah.
I think this is our best play. I'm pretty convinced this is our best play here.
Okay.
We have a good level of defense here. Let's get this, slam this Brio out.
Huh. All right. Yeah, we'll do Brio. I was just like, huh, Goyo is actually interesting here too, though.
I mean,
Okay.
Goyo also it clears the least amount of monsters, and it doesn't, like. It also will eventually put them into several darks in the graveyard where they have to more or less manually do it. You know?
Okay, so they're only at very few darks. I kind of think that we can bounce this Caius. I don't know. Like, if they don't have a really good crackback, we have a Brio lock with an Amaryllis coming back.
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's do it, right? Yeah.
We're up a game. We have to. We're you know.
If he has brain control Caius, sure. By all means, like, you're the best, you know? Like.
Yeah, exactly. You're the best.
All right, I'll banish one of these. Okay, here we go. Yeah, if he has brain Caius, like, that's the best combo in the whole format, so I accept.
But I know that a lot of people would have, like, or a lot of players I know that it was scooped that they saw that hand, so you just got to see the lines. So we taught the viewers some cool new lines.
That was a crazy line, though. That was like some next level. Like, that was you absolutely cooking in the kitchen as a sous chef.
When you play this deck so much,
I told you,
it's like it just
I fucking knew it. All right, what's happening here, though?
He's crashing.
What is this? I'm just confused, is all. Am I getting Tragodia'd?
If you do. What the Oh, let's look at this graveyard. Let's look at this graveyard, because there's... What the hell was that?
I don't understand what just happened. I don't understand what just happened.
Okay. That's crazy.
It's just 3,000 damage is what it is.
Oh, he dealt 3,000.
Oh, okay. He
Okay.
is.
I'm
attacking the doors. I don't give a fuck. All right, I don't give one fuck.
What the fuck was that?
All right, I mean, he's just dead now to Amaryllis. I don't know. Does he have a way to banish it? Like, he has to. You know what? I know what his play is. His play could be summon dark. Or no, how's he gonna get the? He needs to get a third dark. Summon dark armed, then tribute it for Caius to banish Amaryllis. That's like his play. But I don't know how he does that without brain control now.
Let's hold on. Let's set the. Do we set trade in?
I don't think so. Cause
let's see. How many lates are in our deck?
How many what?
We have 8. So okay.
So one Tytannial. So there's three level 8s left. Because we play 6, right? So there's 3 level 8s left. 3 out of 22. So 1 out of 7, almost 1 out of 7. Yeah.
Yeah, let's keep it.
So one out of 7.
Bring back Amaryllis. Bring back Amaryllis.
Ah, fuck, I forgot. Or like
Do it. Throw it on the board.
I was talking to you. Sorry. That always happens when we're recording. When me and Stango are recording, we often do things because all right, well, we end up winning anyway. But that's just
shit.
like
what was this dude's hand? That was crazy.
I have no idea. Let's check. But yeah, doing content like dueling and recording is just a very different thing because you have to consider the fact that you're having an entire conversation with someone else while you're playing, which is not normal. Someone that's not your opponent. All right, so our opening was very strong this game. The mills were also just really good.
Right.
And we were just able to pressure basically every turn with the least amount of...
Yeah, this was so confusing. This is very confusing.
Yeah, I can't wait to see... I can't wait to see what he had at the end there. Like, I'm very curious to see what...
I'm very curious because there was I was making too many justifications into my head for that, and I was just like, well, what
he drew the Gale.
What if you're asked?
Yeah, if he didn't draw a Gale, like he was just cooked.
Uh-huh.
This was too much. This is so good. And then so he's gonna draw Torrential here too. Is this the only way he gets out of this? This situation is like the only way you get out of this is with Torrential Tribute. He just kept prolonging the game.
Yeah.
Oh man.
It might have been playing with our food a little bit, but
I think so. I think we definitely. But you know what though, Nick? One of the things that I do in Yu-Gi-Oh, especially like when there are no real stakes, is I will just test the waters of see how far I can let the rubber band stretch. Like we could have gone harder per se. And you saw in the tournament I did go hard in a lot of my plays. Like I went very aggro against people. Like the Hero Beat guy, he had like 3 back row, and I was like, summon Tytannial, Miracle Fertilizer, put another Tytannial in defense mode, attack. Just like go in because I don't believe you. But when you're up in cards like we were in this game, we're just like in control. You can just kind of play with your food and see what happens, and it kind of teaches you just like how to play Yu-Gi-Oh fundamentally better anyway, because you're just prolonging the game and making like a very safe play where you just know that if the game continues in the same direction it's going right now, I will eventually win because I just have more than you. Like I will eventually just win the long game. If we continue to go at this rate where you have 2 cards to my 5, which is what this actually became, like I'm just gonna win. Like he's passing to me, I'm going to draw the 5 cards. It's like, bro, if I continue to have a +3, how long are you going to last? Like, there's only so long. Now it turned into another plus technically.
Lots of fair points there. Yeah, absolutely. We just summon.
Yep. So he drew.
And when they ask priority on Lila, I'm like, no, you know this.
Nah. I don't know what's going on here. All right, so I want to see.
So good to disappear.
Yeah, it just disappeared. The Link book just be glitching.
He had Dark Arms. Oh my god!
He did have it.
Look at that.
He did
so
have it.
Good.
Yep, he did have it. All right, here we go. Crack, crack. Yep. MST. Oh, he drew the Caius. Okay.
Oh, he could have gamed us right here, and he just didn't.
Yeah, I'm confused.
He had 3 Darks in Graveyard. I think you go for that every time.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, I don't know why you wouldn't. Did he really have 3 Darks?
He had 3 Darks, yeah. He put him 3 Darks.
Yeah, because he went turn 1, send Gardner and a thing to the grave. Then we tried to attack and he went Gardner. So then he used Greffer effect again and he went to exactly 3 Darks. So yeah, all he had to do was just go summon Dark Arm this game and we would have actually been cooked. And honestly, anyone who plays Value like a lot and it's like their main deck and they're a good player, they would just slam it. They know that like how are you getting out of this, right? Like you better be playing the build with the Gores. Most don't play it. So I'm just doing it.
Especially me who like if for those people who listen to my channel a lot, like you hear me shit on that card so hard in this deck. I think it's so bad in Amaryllis. So bad in Amaryllis.
Listen, I didn't change a single thing. I was like, I'm just playing Nick's list exactly the way it is. All right, so here, and this is what the Brio Lock did, is like, how does Vayu, with no setup at all in the graveyard, deal with a Brionic established? A Brionic established against Vayu is actually extremely good. Like, because the Greffer, he's down a Greffer, right? So the way that he could do it is obviously if he has a Greffer plus another pitch, is, you know, he could just trade his Arm Wing in against our Brionic. But like, he doesn't have any setup in grave at all. Like, no Value, no Sirocco, so he doesn't even have a part of it. And he doesn't have any monsters on the field. So we can give him the Caius. It's like, besides brain control, how are you getting this out of your hand? And now he just takes 5,300, which is like, okay, you're actually just dead here. Then we have a very long conversation before he rips Plague Spreader Zombie and loses. That was very confusing, yeah. I wish did I take time to check our next draw? Oh, they kicked me out. I wanted to see what our next draw was. Man. That was great.
We did it.
We did do it. Well, thank you so much for stopping by the channel, Nick. Little Man Yu-Gi-Oh! Again, don't forget to subscribe to his channel here, Little Man Yu-Gi-Oh! If you want to learn this deck, this is the channel to go to. If you want to be an Amaryllis god or aspire to be one, this is the channel to go to. Hit that subscribe button, you know, all those things that YouTubers say at the end of a video, like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. But yeah, this deck is awesome. I am going to continue to play around with it because I don't know right now when I'm playing for YCS Indianapolis, and I'm going to that at the end of the month. I'm booked for that already, so I have no idea when I'm going to play for Indianapolis yet. And I'm considering this deck because, one, I think that there aren't many mirror matches in person. On Dueling Book, everyone has every card. In person, people just do not have this card. So I hate mirror matches. That's why I'm saying this. I do not like mirror matches in Yu-Gi-Oh. I'm not bad at them or anything like that. I just do not like them. I don't enjoy them. So I'll prefer to play a deck that, like, I'm not going to mirror a bunch. Shout out to all the value players who just go into a tournament knowing that they're about to play 5 mirror matches. You know, that, like, congrats to you. Like, I cannot do it. So yeah, I think the decks I'm considering is this deck, obviously. Hero Frogs always, that's all, because like my friend got it for my birthday, max rarity. So I'm always like, Hero Frogs always in my back pocket. Nice. It's always with me. And there's one more deck that I'm thinking about. I don't want to say it yet, but there's one more deck I'm considering. But yeah, this is like, right now, this is above Hero Frogs in terms of what I might play for the YCS, just because I think there'll be more people playing Hero Frogs than there will be people playing Amaryllis, and this deck is just on fire.
Well, yeah. Well, that's the other thing too, is I think the other home field advantage is that when you're playing in paper, yeah, exactly, you play against it less. So how much experience are people going to really have in this matchup unless they also play on Dueling Book too? Yeah. Like, you have that home field advantage also. Like, you also have the advantage of people still, like, not fully reading Miracle Fertilizer and trying to MST it when you have a Tytannial on the field, and
or trying to put with Sirocco, and you're like, okay, exactly. Negate.
Yeah, you could just get, like, sometimes, like, free wins by people just making mistakes. So, like, if you know this deck backwards and forwards and they don't know your deck at all,
one of the biggest mistakes that people make is Miracle Fertilizer. If you Dust Tornado or MST this card and a monster's already been summoned, so, like, let's say I just have, like, a Dandelion on the field from Miracle Fertilizer. If you MST it, the Dandelion doesn't go anywhere. And a lot of people will have this thought that if they Heavy Storm a Miracle Fertilizer or something, while I have a Tytannial that was summoned by it, that the Tytannial will die, and it just doesn't. Like, it doesn't take the monsters that it summons with it. If the monster leaves the field, Miracle Fertilizer goes away, but not the other way around. And a lot of people just get confused with that. So, you know, this deck is great. You're great.
Other point too on Miracle Fertilizer to, like, help those out is if you activate Fertilizer and target a creature in your graveyard and they DD Crow it, you could still normal summon immediately after that, because it says on the card you cannot normal summon to set the turn as special summon. So if the special summon is not complete, then you can just normal summon a card. And they're like, what? Like, I get the what faces. I'm like, yeah, it's not Hidden Armory. So, you know.
Yeah, it's actually very, very good in that regard. That's another good one to know. But all right, guys, we are going to end this video here. This is a pretty long one. I hope you guys enjoyed. Again, shout out to you. Shout out to Little Man Yu-Gi-Oh! Nick Trudden. Is it Trudden? Did I say it right?
Trudden, that's right. Yeah.
All right, Nick Trudden here. And yeah, we will catch you in the next one. Peace.
Hey, everybody.